get dreadlocks. So a lot of people back in that time frame got their dreadlocks a traditional route. And then I'll explain what method I believe he used to get his dreadlocks, but they didn't have sponge rub. Of course they probably did, but it wasn't very popular and people weren't using it to get dreadlocks. They used the sponge to just get curls on the top. From what I know, nobody was really using crochet needles, and people probably were doing all these methods, but they were very underground. I mean, 2-strand twists weren't really that popular, and let me mention again, I know people were probably doing it, but it wasn't a very popular way of actually starting your dreadlocks out. Back then it was a lot of beeswax, a lot of just locking gel. I know most popular back then was wax, and a lot of people used waxes. So he could possibly fall into the category of actually using wax to start out his dreadlocks, so that could possibly be it. But I don't believe he did start out with wax, and even if he did, I wouldn't recommend it for you guys. I know that he most likely started out with some sort of twisting with gel, and Jamaican mango and lime locking gel was still out back then, so I'm almost positive he uses it nowadays, especially with him doing 2-strand twists and other hairstyles. I don't know if I've seen him braid his hair before, but he does wear 2-strand twists quite a bit, and that's what I wanted to list as one of his hairstyles that he wears. He wears probably just 2 hairstyles. Sometimes he'll wear his hair in a ponytail. I've noticed he'll have the curly ponytail, and the reason his hair does become curly is because of the 2-strand twist. And that's what I see him most frequently now. Before, he would always just wear his hair down, but it's pretty interesting to see him broaden the spectrum a little bit and doing different hairstyles. Because, I mean, I remember Chief Keef growing up, and his hair was just always down in his face. And I think it's just because of the culture shifting, especially with dreadlocks in the rapper community. Things have obviously changed. But guys, the method is definitely twisting with gel. I'm not sure if he used wax back then. Could have possibly been, but I'm not sure. But since I'm not recommending waxes to you guys, use Jamaican mango and lime. I can definitely say that hands down, that's most likely how he started, with twisting with gel. And that's why I call it a traditional method, because that's how a lot of people typically get them. It's more traditional. It's the way that people know how to get dreadlocks if they don't know anything about dreadlocks. And I'm not saying everyone who gets twisted with gel dreadlocks doesn't know anything about dreadlocks. I'm saying people from the outside looking in, they think that you have to twist your hair in order to get dreadlocks, which isn't always necessarily the case, because dreadlocks are essentially just your hair locked up. So in that case, we know now that you can go in and actually maintenance yourself with crochet needling and literally create dreadlocks yourself versus twisting them. And that's why I'm saying that's a traditional route, doing the twisting method, which is completely fine. And they turn out very maintained and they look very good if you were to go that route. But it really just depends on what you want to achieve. Because if you look at Chief Keef's hair, it looks very different than if you were to look at Lil Pump's hair. It looks different than if you were to look at Young Thug's hair.